Today we're going to talk about the refinements that we have made to the sprockets. Diana, could you show us a little bit more about that?
Sure.
Thanks.
Sure. So as we mentioned before, we've got 5 new sprockets: the carousel, the classic list, the gallery, the slider, and the poster board. These are the new sprockets for the new section editor. But before I go into more detail about each one of those and their special features, I wanted to talk about the general refinements that we made across sprockets. So now the headline field is optional, and there's a new field that we've added, which is the headline link. So you could actually link 2 elements using the title of your sprocket now.
Oh, that's great.
And then there's a few settings where you can basically set up the automation, so what fills your sprocket. Under type, you can select by the different types. So we have content, location, event, and curated. Curated means handpicked. Basically, you can pick a mix of different content types there.
And that's the only option that's not automated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that would have to go in manually and change those manually.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to leave it at content right now.
Okay.
And then then below you'll see content filters. The next options are, you can basically decide whether you want a specific type of content, because Metro Publisher has different content types. In addition to locations and events up above, we also have a breakdown of more content types like reviews and roundups and articles.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it to all as well. And then you can basically filter by tag. So if you wanted to only show content that was tagged with a certain tag, you could show it that way, or you can omit it by that tag. This becomes a little tricky, or maybe if you have a strategy, it works pretty cool. And the next element is basically you can decide which content from which section or subsection you want to feature. For example, you can select all sections, and it'll basically show content from all sections everywhere. Now, if you wanted it to be smarter, you could select all sections, click limit to current section. The sprocket would basically know where it is. It would be context sensitive. So if it was in the dining section, it would only show content from the dining section. But if it was on the home page, it would show content from the entire site. And if it was on a section like sports or something, it would show content that was just in sports.
So this is a very, very powerful refinement to sprockets, because it really keeps the user from having to develop multiple sprockets for different sections. They can just then hear, well, I'm just going to change the settings to reflect this type of content.
Yes.
Wow, that does save a lot of time.
Yes, it does. It will prevent you from having to repeat yourself constantly, making individual sprockets for specific sections. It's a shortcut. So next is the more visual part, where you can basically move the slider around to see how many items you want to display. I'll set it to 5. And then at the very bottom, there's a whole list of display options. So show thumbnail, if you unclick it, the thumbnail goes away. You show thumbnail. I like it with the thumbnails. You can either decide to show or hide the description. There's the description.
That's great. You can really see it all happening right in front of you, how it's going to be displayed. That's awesome.
Yeah, it helps. And then there's the publish date, and then the publish time, and then the author, and then the section. And some content features a location, so like here there's a location review sample, so you can see that the location shows up. And then lastly, you can decide whether or not you want to have a show more link.
So if you have more options, like more stories, you can fill in that. People can choose to get more.
So then it gives you the sort of endless scroll, gives your reader an endless scroll experience. Like they can just keep clicking more and more and more until they find the story they're looking for.
Okay.
So I'll select that, and then let's save. And here I just want to show you a preview of the sprocket that we just made. So here's the recent articles, and then there it is.
Thank you very much for showing us that, Diana.
You're welcome.